there? Can you type in the chat? Let me know if you can see and hear me, and we'll get started. We'll give a few minutes. We're just before the hour for people to come in and get themselves situated. So type in the chat. Can you hear and see me? And also let me know where you're listening in from. Where are you watching? I'd love to hear. I'm over here in San Diego, California, and the weather is not sunny like it typically is. So let me know if you can hear and see me. I'm so excited for you guys to be present today live, and I have a ton of information for you. We'll just get set up. So if someone can just drop in the chat or give me a thumbs up in the chat, can you hear and see me? Awesome. Thank you, Janelle. So nice to have you here. Okay. We'll get started here in just a minute or so. So as we're waiting for everyone to come in, since you're the early birds, get yourself set up, turn off all distractions, including your phone. Make sure that, you know, your kids, your significant other isn't going to interrupt you or you're going to get any work calls, because this is the time for you. And I promise when you spend this time right now, learning how to give back to yourself, then you can do so much more in your business and in your work. So essentially that's what today is about. So let's start off right on the right note here. Again, as you're coming in, you can let me know your name, where you're watching from, and how you're feeling today. How's your summer going? I know we've had a very interesting year to start, so to speak. We went camping last week, and it was very relaxing, but it definitely did have a different vibe. So how are you hanging in here with COVID? So I'm going to be giving some stress relieving tips, which will, I'm sure, be helpful for you. Okay, so we'll get started, and as people continue to come in, good morning, Josie. We'll let them filter in. So today we're going to go over yoga for decreased stress, get your energy boost, reduce aches and pains and soreness. Also, you can do more in your business or in your work. So if you'd like to be more productive with your time, more efficient, have more energy, give me a hell yes or nod your head. I know as a business owner, I'm always trying to improve my health so I can do more in my business and have more time with my family, right? So that's my personal goals. Again, before we get into the meat of the content, just make sure that you do have your phones turned off, turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper, because as you can see behind me, I'm going to teach you a few things, and especially I'm going to teach you this formula, and you might want to take and jot down some notes. So grab pen and paper if you haven't already, and make sure you stay with me to the end. I've got a special freebie, a gift for you, for those of you who do stay in till the very end. So I've really been listening what's going on in the world, especially with entrepreneurs, especially with yogis for this year of 2020. And a lot of them are telling me that they have all these creative ideas at certain times, but they feel held back in their business, or if they do work in a company, because I have a lot of clients, students, and patients that are an employee or do work on contracts. So they're working for a bigger company, but they take the work on as their own. So that essentially they have an entrepreneur mindset. So they feel held back, though, from productivity, from getting the results that they really want in their business and in their work, because they're either having distracting aches and pains and soreness. So they sit at the desk and they're having this low back issue that causes them to take their mind, their focus off the work, and they even have to stand up and move around, which is okay. We're going to get to that. But it's the thoughts about that or the thoughts after that that allow the distraction to go on much longer than what's really needed. or they're feeling really exhausted and fatigued throughout the day because they're not sleeping. And they might not be sleeping because of stress. Maybe the worries are keeping them up at night, or pain's keeping up at night, right? Or maybe sometimes they just don't know. They're just not sleeping well. So then they are feeling exhausted throughout the day. Or another thing I'm hearing is that people feel that they're getting adequate sleep, the 7, 8, maybe even 9 hours, but they're still waking up really sore and fatigued. So what's going on with that? And then, of course, stress. So for me personally, my stress definitely stifles my creativity. When I'm in that fight or flight response, I'm not going to produce quality work such as now. So, how can we move ourselves from the fight or flight response to get more efficient work done in shorter time? And also, the thing about stress and exhaustion and fatigue, research has shown that if you do have any underlying soreness or pain or discomfort, it's only going to heighten it. It's only going to make it worse. So they all really feed into each other. So the next hour, it is a big topic to cover. Each of these areas, soreness, stress, sleep, exhaustion, could be a whole day lecture or training completely on its own. But there is a thread that weaves them all together. And that's what I'm going to go over specifically today with you. So if you can relate to any of this, give me a hell yes. You can type in the chat, just nod your head, whatever resonates for you. So before we get into more of the meat here, I'll give a little bit of an introduction for those of you who don't know me. My name's Alison McLean. I'm a physical therapist, yoga teacher, massage therapist, and most recently, I just went through my functional nutrition certification. So I like to really create comprehensive wellness or therapeutic programs for people. So ultimately, they can spend less time, less worry on not feeling so great for whatever the reason, and more time on doing the things that they enjoy or being productive in their work. So that's my passion. It's what I love to think about and create content on and value on. And I'm just so excited to share this information with you. So it's a professional passion that I have. In the yoga world, we call this our dharma or my purpose. I feel very connected to this. But also personally, I what's the word? I experience the work myself. So if you've been listening to me for some time, you might know my story, but I've used yoga and these techniques to heal multiple surgeries. So this first started for me when I was in my 20s. I actually had, when I was 20 years old, I had 3 surgeries. I was a Division I diver. And that's when I first stumbled upon yoga in 2020, 2021. And I was in a very dark place, and yoga helped to lift me up. And that's what started this thought process on my purpose, on my dharma, the path, because I love to work with people. I love to work with the body. And I felt very compelled to give people hope, because maybe like you might have experienced Western medicine, and yes, you got some information. Maybe you did get some help, like the surgeries for me were very beneficial. Later on in my life, I was diagnosed with Lynch syndrome. I actually have a history of cancer. So Lynch syndrome is a genetic mutation that puts you at high risk for a bunch of cancers. And I am so grateful and appreciative of Western medicine for, first of all, diagnosing this, because then it got me into preventative screening, which caught my colon cancer super early. So yes, I needed a surgery, but it could have been a lot worse. I could have been stuck going through chemo radiation, where my time span of healing from this, physically, I should say, was a few months. It could have been a year or so much longer. So I'm really grateful for Western medicine and all that it provides for us. But sometimes there's some lacking components, and that's what I'm going to go over in a moment. And that's my goal, is to bring a more comprehensive, holistic wellness. So you could be on the preventative side, filling up your cup, or healing if you do have a certain issue that you want to heal from and move forward. So the programs are designed to help you and meet you no matter where you're at, and no matter your knowledge, your education. Or I work with a ton of yogis, but you don't have to be a yogi or even stepped on the mat for the first time to get benefit of this work. So that's a little bit about me. I'll sprinkle more about my story in the future, but I've used this knowledge, this work to again heal from the colon cancer, a cesarean. And for me, it's all about this last word, which it's hard to read. I can tell because of the glare, is health resilience. And why is health resilience important? It's because as we've all discovering as a human race right now, we can't predict everything. I don't think, especially here in America, well, maybe some people did predict some type of pandemic happening in the future. Some people probably did predict some type of recession, but I don't think any of us, I know me personally, had never predicted the type of results that this pandemic is, how severe it's affecting all of us, both widespread. So we don't have control over COVID, for example. We don't have control over what a government that may decide, and how that may affect our day to day. For example, my daughter, she's starting kindergarten this fall, and I cannot control whether schools are going to be online or not. And for now, we're starting online. And that caused a whole stress response in my body, which is going to really block and sabotage the results that I want to create in my business, the creativity, the value that I can provide for you. So what do I do? How do I manage this stress response so it's not stored as tension and soreness in my body? How can I be creative to think of alternative solutions for my daughter? And in May, unfortunately, I ended up in the hospital for a week. That was completely unexpected. And the health resiliency, right? It gives me a cushion, so to speak. So then always continually, if you have a health scale, right? I'm always putting bank deposits into my health bank account. So then when I need to withdraw from that account, I have room to go, right? I often describe this as the line of wellness. So if your line of wellness is right here, this pen, most of the time I find a lot of people that come to my office or that attend any of my programs online or in person is that they are living right underneath this wellness line. So they may have a nagging low back issue, and every so often they feel it, right? They go to a yoga class to do something good for themselves, and they end up lying in bed at night or waking up the next morning and being like, my back feels worse. What did I do? I thought yoga was supposed to help me. And so it bumped them over this line of wellness. Or maybe they had a long car drive. I know summer is typically the time for travel. So maybe you're sitting in the car or on the plane, if you're courageous and braving the COVID, and your back gets irritated. You're easily bumped over the line of wellness into this place of pain, discomfort, suffering, so to speak, right? When ideally, if we continue to fill our health bank account, then it can bump us way down here. So like for me, I went into the hospital, and the doctors and everything were really amazed at how they called me miraculous, at how quickly I recovered. And even though I couldn't walk, I was very weak. I needed nurses' help to go to the restroom and a walker. And at a time I was in the PCU, they wouldn't even let me out of bed. I had a long way to go to get up to that rock bottom, let's say, place of health crisis. And so I had built up a lot of reserves that I feel like Had I not been putting all these deposits into my health bank account, all this education, all this time on the mat, all this investment of time of working with people, of learning about my body, about what it needs on a day to day, then I could have been so much worse. I was in the hospital for 6 days. I could have been in the hospital for 2 months had I not had these reserves to pull from. And I bounced back pretty quickly because here I am now in August or end of July, and my practice is full again. I'm being the mom I want to be. I'm back to working. And so had I not had this health resiliency, the time that I actually was feeling sick would have been a lot longer, and my road to recovery would have also been longer. So that really is the key, no matter what it is, if it's a backache, a neck problem, a shoulder problem, hip, stress, anxiety, right? Or even like an immunity problem, autoimmune problem, any of these things, right? I'm gonna teach you this basic formula that I created in just a moment. That's all you need, and it seems so simple. You're like, duh. But it's really everything, and I'm going to teach what's often missed. Okay, so are you with me? Are you excited to learn? Okay, I'm going to tell you. All right, so before I get started on this simple formula, close your eyes. Make yourself comfortable in your chair. You can even decide to lie down for a moment. Let's talk about you, enough about me. Let's talk about you. Let's get connected to this present moment. So just feel your breath. Just observe the simpleness as you inhale. Follow the path of the air in. As you exhale, just breathe out. Whatever is blocking, just breathe it out. Let it go. Maybe notice the support, your hips on your chair, your feet on the ground. Get connected to this very present moment. And ask yourself, what's the reason why you showed up today? What's the problem that really needs some solving? And if you solve this one problem, it'll open up the doors to so much potential, so much hope in your life. Now imagine that this problem is solved. Envision yourself 6 months down the road. What would your life be like? Solving this problem, how would that affect your work? Maybe your time with your family, your ability to be you, the essence of you. How about 5 years, 10 years? Imagine carrying this problem along for a decade. How would your life differ if this problem wasn't solved in a decade, or if it was? I work with many people. They've come in and they've been dealing with pain, soreness, or unable to manage their stress, their worries. It's been going on for years. Okay, open your eyes. If you feel courageous, you can share your problem in the chat, because then I can sprinkle in some tidbits into your specific problem. Give you some tips right now for showing up, giving you a little mini gift. Even if you don't want to share it with us, write it down. What's the problem? What do you want to solve? And also write down a health goal. So maybe your problem is back pain, for example, or sciatica. Maybe you are having trouble sleeping through the night and feel exhausted. So flip it around. What's a specific goal? In 3 months, I want to be able to sleep 8 hours at night and wake up feel rested. I want to be able to sit at the computer for a full hour and feel focused on my work. And even if I have a nagging soreness that comes up in my neck or my back, for example, I have a plan, I have a solution. I know exactly what to do so I can do it and then get right back to work. Write that down for yourself. Give yourself a timeline. Okay, I'm going to teach you the formula to help get this goal met, to create success in this area that's important to you. Okay, so the first thing here on this board is that you have to have a plan. And so a lot of these times people come to me and that's what they want. They want the one stretch to heal their sciatica. They want the breath technique to help solve their anxiety. They want, the nutrition protocol to help boost their immunity or reduce inflammation. Or a lot of times I find that people are Googling and YouTubing, right? How to stretch my low back, how to fix my sciatica, right? They're looking for the plan. Or even they've come to me from other healthcare providers, acupuncturists, chiros, other PTs, other yoga teachers. They're coming to me and they were already given the plan, right? Here's something with your plan that you need. You need a plan that's specific to you, which can be done and taught in a group setting, whether that's you're going to a group yoga class, you're doing an online group program, and it also can be done in a one-on-one, right? It's very, very tricky to do, though, to create your own plan on YouTube or Google, because you have to like piece together all these different things. You have to grab a video here, grab a video there, all that sort of stuff. And what I find is often the missing link with the plan is a few things. Is the person's belief in the plan. Do you believe that the plan that you have, well, first of all, do you have a plan? So you might write that down, get a plan. Okay, the next thing with your plan, do you believe in your plan and program? Do you actually believe that it's going to solve your problem 100%? 100%, right? I have people coming to me with a plan, and the thing is, they didn't believe in the plan. Maybe they didn't believe in yoga, or they didn't really trust acupuncture. So they didn't really believe that that plan could help them. Oh, indecisive. Yeah, Jackie, that is super common. I was just talking about this yesterday with my own coach, is deciding, right? So yeah, you have to create your plan and commit to it. So I've got a few podcasts on this, especially about the belief and how to stay the course in your plan. So you can head over there when we're done with that. Might be able to drop the link in the show notes here. The show notes. Yeah, here we go. This one is creating health success. And it's how to stay the course with your plan. So you can listen to that podcast later, or just subscribe to the podcast. Go to Apple and just hit subscribe. You're welcome. Because it's super important. Your plan will evolve, right? As you heal, for example, there'll be subtle, a plan, there's in the beginning of a plan, there's phases of a plan, right? And you might not be aware of this, so I'll teach you briefly. There's phases of a plan. There's the beginning where you just, you're putting together a few comprehensive, holistic, like you want to have the breath work, you want to have some restoration, you need some downtime, you need diet, you need strength, you need flexibility, traction, space. So there's a whole bunch of components that will go into your holistic plan, right? And specifically what's done in your plan, that's really what's going to vary person to person. And in the beginning of creating that plan, which is probably why some people have indecisiveness, is you have to try it out. There's a trial and error component of developing a plan that really works for you. So I think as entrepreneurs, this is what's now, it's an innate thing that you have to learn as being an entrepreneur, or, you know, again, taking on the work of your company. You're going to try something and it's going to work or not work. And how do you know if it works or doesn't work? The numbers tell you, right? So based on the numbers, then you tweak a bit and then you try again. Or you're like, oh, that didn't work at all. I need to completely change the direction, right? So with your health plan, how are you going to measure if it's working or not? So that is another component, right? So you need a way to measure your health plan. And that can be by measuring, again, I go over this a little bit in the podcast, but measuring the pain scale that you have. How many mornings are you waking up with soreness in a week? Or if you have migraines, are you waking up every morning with a migraine? Is it reduced to 3 times a week, for example? And if you're seeing measurements of success, then you know you're on the right plan. You've tweaked it enough. You just need to stay the course. So the takeaway here is you got to have a plan. There is some trial and error. And while you're trying something out, you have to commit to it for a few weeks. And you have to have ways to measure. So you're measuring if it works, if it doesn't work, what are your results? And that's what working with someone really helps with this. And then if it is working, you just do more of that and you stay the course. I give this analogy a lot. Health, and especially while healing, is like watching paint dry in the body. If it's ligaments, tendons, bones, disc, whatever it may be, labrum, menisci, there's a certain amount of time that a structure needs to heal, right? And we can open up the windows for the paint. We can put the fan on the paint, right? Let's say you have a disc injury. We can do all the right exercises. We can create a relaxation program for ourselves. We can, do traction for ourselves, all this sort of thing. That's like putting the fan, opening the windows to allow the paint dry. But before you can put on that second coat, the paint has to dry, and it's going to take 24 to 48 hours, right? Or however long it does to take paint dry. So with the body, it's going to take a certain amount of time to heal. A lot of people either give up because they don't believe in their plan. They keep flip-flopping things around. So there's too many variables. You have to think of it a bit like a science experiment. There's too many variables in the equation, so they don't know what's working, what's not working. And they just weren't patient enough to allow the structures to heal. They got in their own way, right? So there's some components of the plan. The other thing about the plan that's huge is not only your belief in the plan, but your belief in, if someone created that plan for you, do you believe in that practitioner? Do you believe that and trust that they have the knowledge, the tools to help you? So belief is required in your plan too. There's different layers of belief. So we've got our plan. We've got the facets of the plan that are needed, right? The other key component. So again, a lot of people, I'm not the first practitioner that a lot of people have seen when they come to me. I'm usually the 5th, sometimes even the 10th, right? I get people that are super frustrated, like they're at their wits' ends, and they feel like they have to live with this problem forever, and that it's just going to get worse. That's the fear I hear a lot about. It's like, I go to bed tonight and I just wonder if this problem's going to get worse as I age. So that leads me to my next point. We have to manage the thoughts. A lot of the times we're given the physical plan, but there's nothing done about our emotion our emotional standpoint. Uh, uh, Nothing to be done about our thoughts about our body. There's no information on this, or it's never even addressed, right? A lot of times I hear people going to a physical therapist there for sciatica, for example, and they might be given like the figure 4 stretch. They're given some bridging, some clamshells, cat camel, right? There's a good plan for you. Writing it down. But they're never talked about what to do when doubt comes up. What happens when you have an off day? What thoughts are sabotaging your success? And this is the number one thing. It's really what can make or break success in your health. And it's also what can give you the health resilience. So after I was discharged from the hospital in May, and when I went to one of my doctor's appointments just last month, they're like, holy, it's like a miracle. Look at how you're walking. I'm like, you should see my yoga practice. And the doctor was baffled, right? And I really think that part of that, and same with like when I bounced back from colon surgery, and I really think that it was my belief in both these very I call them health crises, because I never would have predicted that one, I would have had cancer, right? Because I do so much of deposits into my own health bank account, right? So thought process, I could have shamed myself. I could have gotten really mad at myself for not being good enough and causing my own cancer. Same with the hospital scenario. Like, it's always good to take a step back and question how you got here, because then it allows you again to do that trial and error of what was working. So I had to evaluate what was not working in my past. How did I get here? Possibly. What's not in my control? I can't change Lynch syndrome. I can only keep doing things to decrease my risk. But ultimately, it's my belief. Both of these scenarios, I believed that I would heal. Fully believed I'd heal. When I was on the phone, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I was talking to the doctor. And yes, it was funny. He actually told me I needed surgery at the time. And I was in a bit of denial. So it is a learning process. But at that moment, I was like, oh, okay, I've got this. I believe my body can heal. I trust in my practitioners. I trust in Western medicine and everything that I'm going to do to complement this. I've got this. And so I just asked him, I was like, what's the next steps? What do I do next? And so from there, we just laid out a plan and went forward. And I think that's where a lot of people really get stuck, is they doubt that their body will heal. They get really mad and frustrated with their body. Their body should be performing a certain way. So I have some disc tears, right? Getting to the physical for a moment here. I found this out when I had the MRI when I was in the hospital. So I had about a decade or so ago, I had sciatica pain, and I had what I thought was a significant disc injury. I didn't know if it was a bulge, actual herniation, what it was, because I didn't want to get an MRI. I didn't want to associate that image with my body. For me, I'm a natural worrier, so I just didn't want to ruminate on that over and over again. I wanted to focus on the healing, which is essentially what I did, and I did heal myself. Over time, I created the program, the plan, and I tweaked it, and I got something that works, and I still do this plan every day. However, I have disc tears, right? And I also have a scoliosis. So I have these predisposing things in my body that I can't change. And I can get mad at my body for being this way, or I can accept it. And I can say, right, that I know my limits of sitting tolerance, right? So for example, after I teach this class, I'm going to go hang out on the wall for a little bit, and I'm going to go do my routine, because sitting is a trigger for me. I can get really mad at that. And I can say, my body should be sitting all day, no problem. But it's not realistic. And I'm only going to keep failing and getting mad and mad at myself. And the problem is only going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Instead, I can say, this is me and all my falls. flaws, because we're all human. We all have something we're working on. Every one of us is working on something in some way, whether we accept it or not. And so I meditate like on giving back love and compassion to myself, on continuously believing that I can heal. The belief in my program that as I age, my disc problem is not going to get worse. In fact, I hope my yoga practice continues to progress as I get better, as I get older, right? If my daughter decides to have kids, I hope to do handstands with my grandkids. That would be super fun. So there is the component of the thought management, which is key and not often addressed in typical Western medicine. And then it's the combination of the plan and the management of the thoughts that will give you the health resilience. So the way to really work with this, though, the other key of it all is consistency. I should really write that in there. Is doing it, showing up day after day, putting in the time. And it doesn't have to be a long time, 5-10 minutes. My program that helps my back, my program that helps to instill the belief that I can heal no matter how long it takes, is done day after day. And it's not that long, it's 15-20 minutes. And then when I have more time, I might do an online yoga class. I might do a longer strengthening program here at home. So let me know your thoughts so far. Any questions? Health bank account. Yes, Jackie, you and I together, handstands at 90 with Miss Kaylee. I love that. So let me see, I have some notes. I'm gonna just go over them, but type in the chat, any questions, any thoughts? Thank you, Janelle. Okay, right, so here's how the stress and exhaustion comes into the whole thing. And in the combination, so the thoughts really are the key to it all. It's that thread that I was describing in the very beginning. So you can have the physical plan for whatever the problem might be, right? Maybe you have a diet plan. My head's getting cut off here for a moment. Maybe you have a diet plan. Maybe you have a stress relief plan. Or maybe you have your body plan, right? The physical component. But the other thread that is a component to it all is our nervous system, right? So the driver I find a lot of the times with the physical is our ability to handle a stress load. So we all have stress in life. Totally normal. In fact, a little bit of stress is good. As an entrepreneur, it's part of the day-to-day, this ability to handle stress, because a little bit of stress causes you to grow. In the body, when you're strength training, that is a stressor. It's a physical load that challenges the muscles, that allows them to get stronger. So a little bit of stress is good. It's our ability to handle it. Are we using the stress to help us to grow? Or are we getting stuck in this stress response 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's taxing our adrenals? Our cortisol is going through our roof, so then our sugar levels are all off. Our inflammatory process is all off, right? If we, as I mentioned earlier, if we have any stress, aches and pains or soreness, because of that inflammatory response, they're going to be kicked up. It's going to contribute to that exhaustion, that energy depletion. So our management of our nervous system is key. So how does, right? A lot of times we just think stress just happens to us. COVID just happens to us, right? And that causes my stress. COVID happened, now I'm stressed, right? I don't have anything to do with it. I don't have a choice in the matter. However, what is really the driver of whether you will perceive stress or not is our thoughts. It's our own brain. So our brain is really the predictor as to whether you feel that you can handle something, you're going to feel safe, you feel supported, you can let down your guard. There's no lions, tigers, or bears. Or if you're going into the fight or flight response. So what do I mean by this? Fight or flight. Let's take a bus. A bus is a neutral thing, right? In and of itself, it's not dangerous, right? It can be used for good, cart people and kids around. So there's two scenarios in the bus, with the bus, right? And you imagine, this is an analogy. So the bus can be anything that you perceive out in the world, because most circumstances, most things out in the world are neutral. When the bus is parked, all the lights are off, there's not even a driver in the car. You see the bus, you're standing right next to the bus. Yeah, I'm safe from that bus. No problem, it's not a threat to me. I'm going to stay in the parasympathetic response. However, if you're in the middle of the street, and you're walking and you roll your ankle, your foot gets caught in a hole. So now you're in a crouch. And you look up, see the bus barreling down on you. You better as heck get into fight or flight to mobilize and move, right? Same thing, the bus. Two different responses. Let me give another neutral one that's more thought-based. I give this one a lot in my workshops. Imagine that there's two kids playing, two 9-year-old boys playing in a living room. And in rushes in this white, fluffy, golden retriever dog, golden doodle, right? The hypoallergenic ones. So this golden doodle comes bouncing in, like 50, 60 pounds, puppy. One boy, so dog, it's neutral, right? One boy, based on what he's learned in life, his past experiences, maybe what his parents taught him even, sees the dog, bursts into tears, goes into fight or flight. So he maybe freezes right there, or maybe he runs, mobilizes, and gets behind the couch and hides, right? Maybe in his past experience, he was bit by a dog. Maybe his parents said, stay away from dogs. Dogs can be dangerous. So he learned that. And so he's associating danger with that dog. The other boy, his parents, he actually has a dog. So his parents have taught him how to love and care for dogs. His dog at home licks and gives him kisses, right? He loves dogs. So he runs over to that same dog, gives him a giant hug, embraces the dog. So he feels safe and supported. He doesn't feel any threat at all. So that's what happens in life sometimes for us, right? We wake up in the morning and we have back pain. Some of us are going to go into the fight or flight. Shoot, this is going to get worse as I age. What the heck? How did I do this? It's my yoga practice. And then we frantic and spin out of control, right? And maybe it takes a few days to get there, a few months. If you first in the beginning, you're calm, but then the program's not working. And then we start to freak out. We make the problem worse. We get more anxious about it. Again, it fuels that inflammatory process. Or we can believe in the plan. We can believe in the practitioner that gave us the plan. We feel safe. We feel supported. We trust the process. We're patient. That's actually going to speed it up. It's going to allow the body to heal. So sometimes we just have to get out of our own way. So a lot of the times that's another problem I see is I see people coming to my office and they have excellent plans for their disc issue, for their hip issue, for their stress management, whatever it may be. They have excellent plans, but they're so stuck here that that plan doesn't work for them at all. So we have to go up here. We have to go to the source, the noggin. And that, I'm telling you, because a lot of people have, first of all, have never been told or have never been even considered that their brain has anything to do with their back problem, right? And then the other factor in this is also nutrition, because if our diet's not so good, again, it comes to that health resilience, then it's easier to be thrown into a stress response, right? Sometimes it's crazy, but gluten can make us at our threshold of being able to handle the stress load or not decreased. So there's a bunch of layers, a bunch of factors that really go into this, but bare bones, when it comes down to it, you need the plan, you need to observe and manage your thoughts, because it's not going to be perfect, right? We have something called a human brain. It's designed to keep us alive. It's going to go towards survival first and foremost. So that's totally normal. Thoughts of doubt, thoughts of confusion, thoughts of frustration, emotions that are uncomfortable, such as disappointment, anger, all normal. We want to listen. We want to pay attention to those. The emotions, we want to process them through so they're not being stuck and stored in our body. We just don't want to stay there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is what happens with a lot of the people I see. They get stuck in that emotional response. Or that stress response, or the worry thoughts keep cycling in the background. And then they go to do the yoga practice or the PT program that was given to them, and they want to heal so badly that they're yanking, they're pulling, they're forcing, and then that program, they're actually sabotaging it. So comment below, can you relate? Any questions? And then we're going to wrap up. Any thoughts? Make sure I got the last of my notes here. So the other thing too, I mean, I highlighted on the stress, but the stress will really decrease your ability to sleep. Awareness is key. You can't make any change. That's right on, Josie. You can't make any change if you're not aware. You have to be aware. Awareness is the first step. But with that stress response, right? Stress will throw off your sleep rhythm. And sleep is another huge component, often underrated, and how that impacts your health, your wellness, your ability to heal. So see how it all goes together: the stress, the sleep, the healing, the prevention. It's really hard to isolate them and work with them just by themselves. And I think that's where Western medicine, as for all the good that it brings, with certain things, especially problems in health and wellness that have been going on for a bit of time, this is the missing component, this holistic, comprehensive way of tying it all together. But yeah, you have to have awareness that maybe you don't believe in your program. The awareness of, oh my goodness, I'm stuck in that fight or flight all the time. To make the changes or the tweaks to the program that's going to get you the results that you want. Yeah, let me know what you think of the podcast. I have many future episodes coming up. And my hope here for these webinars is to do one of our classes, whatever you want to call them, do one a month. So if you have topics that you would like to hear specifically, let me know. So we'll wind up for today. So I said I have a freebie for those of you that stayed on. So if you want to dive deeper into this, if you have a specific problem that like this awareness, it stimulated something in your head, but now the next thing sometimes often is confusion and overwhelm. Like, what the heck do I do? There's so many things to change. I have a bunch of programs. is just hop on a free chat with me. I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now. Is when you get on a call with me, and we can do it on the phone, we can do it via Zoom, whatever you're most comfortable with, is we'll get to the root, your root problem, the root source of what your problem is. So then we can create a plan, that plan, right? And hopefully you trust me that I will create a plan that works for you. We'll create a plan to get results. So let me know, can you see that link? Sometimes it doesn't show up. Also drop my email if you just want to email me. I want to sign up for a chat. You can do that too. It's alison@igniteyourwellness.com. But okay, great. And there is the email. So sign up. You can sign up for a chat with me. I have a ton of programs. I understand that a lot of people are really getting hit hard with COVID financially. So I have different price points. And I mean, just jumping on a call with me is sometimes enough to spur the momentum that you need to get on course. Or if you really just want someone to hold your hand and walk you through the process, again, I have different price points, either on-demand programs or work with me programs, one-on-one. You can come to the clinic, you can do it online. I have group coaching program now available, again, a lower cost point for people that are hit financially, payment plans, all sorts of things. I'm super flexible. The most important thing is that I just want you to get better. I just want you, remember that goal in the very beginning that you set for yourself? I want you to reach that goal. I want to see success for you. My whole purpose, my whole dharma, as I was discussing in the beginning, is to provide hope for people, because I've been that person in my 20s where I was stuck in a dark place. And I had a surgeon, I had 3 surgeries on this wrist here. I don't know if you can see the scar. I had a surgeon tell me that I would have osteoarthritis by the time I was 25. He told me not to choose a career using my hands because I might not be able to write into my 40s and beyond. So I've been there, like thinking, this is it. I'm 20 years old. I can't write. I can't take the gas thing off my car. I can't do all these things that I love. And when I stumbled into that yoga class with my very first yoga class, and that teacher had a sprinkle of hope, it changed I don't even know her name. I only saw her that one time. It changed everything for me. And my goal is to give you that hope, that possibility that you can achieve that goal. Like, I'm doing handstands now. Jackie knows. My yoga practice is full with that wrist. I have no problems, and I was I think I was rebellious in my 20s, because of course I chose a career with my hands. I became a massage therapist when I was 21, so I've been massaging for 20 years now, and I don't have arthritis in my hand. I still massage to this day, no problem. So I don't want to say that I have the ability to heal you, right? I cannot heal my discs. I cannot change my scoliosis. Right now, Western medicine says you can't heal disc tears. But I live 99% of the time, and I don't think about them. It's not a problem. I live my life to the fullest. And just no matter what's going on for you, I want to give you that hope that you too can achieve that goal and live your life to the fullest. So that's my goal for you. I love to work with you if you're so inclined. So any final questions or thoughts? So often I get a question, well, how long is this going to take? How many sessions with you? How many weeks? And really, this is variable depending upon what's going on with your issue, how long it's been going on in the first place. And the truth of the matter is, you remember in the beginning when I had you visualize, what would your life be like 10 years down the road if you didn't fix this problem? Imagine, what would your business be like if you didn't fix this problem 10 years down the road? So the time that you put in now, and again, the program that ideally that we create for you that works, that you do most days to help keep you on track and give you that health resilience, 10-20 minutes. It's not that long. However, you have to put in the time, the investment of time to learn what works, what doesn't work, learn about your body. So that does take time. I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying it takes hours a day at all, but you do have to invest some time. And the length of time to get the return on your time investment, so to speak, that really varies. But I always tell people is that you should be seeing change when you're starting to work with your program in the first few weeks. And if you're not seeing change in the direction that you want to go, that means the program isn't working and we have to tweak some things. So the other objection or comment or question I receive is cost, right? So again, I mentioned I have payment plans. There's different price points. And especially for the entrepreneur, imagine like a question that was posed to me, right, with my health is like, if you don't take care of this problem now, what's it going to cost for your business in the future? Like, think about all the days that maybe you're laid up on the couch and you can't work, or the times where your health is suffering and you're not putting in the quality, the productivity that's going to get you the results that you want. How much is that costing you? And imagine that continuing for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. How much is that going to cost you in your business versus paying someone that you trust to create the program that you want? One and done, you pay, and then you move forward with your life. You go on and do other things. And some of my programs, it's a holistic wellness program. It's the comprehensive ultimate wellness program. So you're going to learn tools that are going to last your lifeline. So lifelong. So when you have a problem that comes on the radar, or an off day that catches you by surprise, like my hospital incidents, you're going to know what to do to heal, to get yourself back on track and go forward. So not only does it help your problem right now, but it's an investment that keeps paying back. So you have to kind of switch your mind. I used to think when I was investing with people, like what I was giving up, right? How the money that I was giving up. But instead, you have to think of what you get in return. And in the cost also, that if you don't invest, what you're losing there. So again, it's a thought management, it's a mind shift, and it's scary. I get it. I totally have the scarcity mindset, and that's been my work. That is my work, to continue with that, so I don't end up in fight or fight, contributing to my issues. But I'm happy to work with you as well. So that's it for today. I'm so glad you guys could join me. Any final questions, thoughts, concerns? All right. Well, it was lovely to have you. I hope to see you on a call, and again in the future. Okay. Bye for now.